This year, I tried to summit Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, all by myself without supplemental oxygen. But on summit day, I had to turn around. I was feeling way too weak and too fatigued. And at round about 8,150 meters, I made the decision that I have to admit defeat. I cannot climb to the summit, otherwise I would die up there and be another frozen body. So that's why I turned around and ultimately failed at climbing Mount Everest without oxygen. And in this video, I will reflect on the mistakes I made and share my insights with you. And at the end of the video, I will share with you how I will climb 8,000 mountains in the future and how I will adapt. So after successfully climbing Mount Lhotse last year, the fourth highest mountain right next to Everest with 8,516 meters without oxygen, all by myself, and also summiting Annapurna this season just a few weeks before Mount Everest, also by myself without supplemental oxygen, I felt ready to tackle the big goal to go for Mount Everest and try to summit Mount Everest without oxygen. So the first and main reason why I didn't feel good and why I had to turn around was because I got sick in Camp 2. So what we 8,000 mountaineers, and especially those without climbing without oxygen, have to do is we have to do some rotations. We have to acclimatize at high altitude. And yeah, I was just doing that. I was in Camp 2. Getting ready to do my rotations up to Camp 3 and Camp 4 in order to acclimatize. But unfortunately, another expedition member, made me sick. I got a grippal infection or a grippal infection, I think you say. And yeah, I just got very, very bad cough. I got very, very sick. And I never really recovered from that sickness. And due to that sickness, I lost a lot of energy, I lost a lot of body mass like muscle and fat, and my lungs didn't have the same capacity anymore. And yeah, it really just weakened my whole body. I was able to recover a little bit from the infection in Camp 2, but ultimately my body was just too weak and too fatigued. I managed to climb up to Camp 3, spend a night there, then I continued to climb to Lhotse Camp 4 and then to Everest Camp 4, spend another night there to rest and maybe get some sleep, which is almost impossible at 7,950 meters in Everest Camp 4. And in the night of the 22nd to the 23rd of May, I started at around about 10 p.m. to go to the summit, to push for the summit and to go up to the balcony, then the South Summit, then over the Everest Ridge, over the Hillary Step to the summit. But at around 8,150 meters, I could really feel how weak I am, how fatigued my body is. And, I only can do like 5 or 10 steps in a row, and then I have to catch a breath since I'm climbing without oxygen and it's very, very hard to climb without oxygen. And every 5 to 10 steps, I have to take a breath, and I was resting, and during those rest periods, I could already feel how tired I am, even though I was just starting and I was at the beginning. And I thought to myself, or I was having a dialogue with myself, and I thought, Nordine, you can push to the balcony now, and from there you probably want to try the South Summit, and if you reach the South Summit, you're probably also going to push to the summit. You can do that, and you will probably make it to the summit. But if you go for the summit, there is no way that you will make it down. You will be way too tired, way too fatigued, way too weak, and you will probably fall asleep up there and just die and end up as another frozen body in the eternal ice. And when I realized that I might be able to go to the summit, but 100% not make it back, I could really feel it, and my body was sending me very clear signs. I was just thinking about my family, my loved ones, my friends, my little niece, and so many things I want to do in the future. And I thought, no, man, this is not worth it. Everest will be here for some time. I can easily turn around and try next year or in 2 years again. It costs quite a lot of money, and I'm not rich. It's expensive for me, but no mountain is worth risking your life, and not even a finger or a toe. And also, it would be unfair to make my family and friends very sad and unhappy. So I told myself, no, it's worth to keep on living and to try again another time. So yeah, I admit defeat and I decided to turn around. I went back to my tent and yeah, just took a nap. So the second mistake I clearly made was I tried to recover from that cold in Camp 2 at 6,500 meters. I almost stayed 3 weeks up there in Camp 2 at 6,500 meters, which is really not to be recommended. It's very, very hard for your body up there, especially without oxygen. Your body degrades, especially if you're feeling weak and fatigued and if you're already like sick. If you cannot get proper sleep, you will get weaker over time, day by day, and this is really what happened to me. The reason why I stayed up there in Camp 2 was because I was feeling a little bit better every day. It felt like I'm able and I can manage the cold, I will be able to recover, and until the summit window opens or the weather window opens for me, I will have recovered from this cold and will be able to climb to Camp 3, Camp 4, and then summit. I thought it would happen that way because last year I already climbed Lhotse without oxygen, and when I was in Camp 2 I was feeling very, very good in Camp 2 and I was able to recover and regenerate in Camp 2. So I thought this year I could do that too. But with the cold, I was not able to recover, not enough. I recovered a little bit, yeah, or quite a lot actually, but it was not enough to be able to climb Mount Everest. So this was definitely the second biggest mistake. I should have gone down. If you go down to base camp, for example, at 5,300 meters, or even further down to 4,000 meters or 3,000 meters, you will feel completely different. It's a huge difference if you suddenly at lower altitude, you breathe more oxygen, your heart is not beating as fast, it doesn't have to work as much, your body is way more relaxed, your appetite is back, your sleep is better, and yeah, my body would have the resources and the stamina to just recover. And yeah, I would feel great and recover quite fast after a while, and then I could have climbed up again. But yeah, this was the number 2 big mistake that led to ultimately failing to climb Mount Everest. Mistake number 3 was definitely I spent way too much time in high altitude. I thought I'm strong enough, I can resist the altitude, and I ultimately thought, okay, if I can stay then for more than 10 days or 2 weeks in Camp 2 and do my rotations up there, that would be awesome and very beneficial for my acclimatization, because we actually need to be at high altitude, or at least do rotations and sleep at high altitude and then go down again, because that way our body can adapt, we will build more red blood cells, and the acclimatization process is just happening. And that was my idea, but I was probably too optimistic, thinking the more time I spend up the better, which is now in hindsight a wrong thought and the wrong decision. What I should have done is I should have gone up to Camp 2, then spend a little time there, maybe 2, 3, maximum 4 days, then climb to Camp 3, do a rotation, climb to Camp 4, do a rotation, come back to Camp 2, and then maybe even go completely down to Everest Basecamp, down at 5,300 meters. This is how I should have done it. Then I would have been able to regenerate. I could have waited without a problem in Everest Basecamp for the weather window to open. I could have had good food, good sleep, good recovery, and then I would be strong and fit enough and ready to summit Mount Everest. But yeah, it didn't go that way. It was a very, very, very expensive learning, and yeah, I have the chance to do it better the next time. So my number 4 mistake definitely was that I did not get enough sleep for several reasons. The main reason why I did not have enough sleep was that I didn't bring the perfect equipment with me. For some reason, I didn't bring my inflatable therma or resting mat or sleep mattress. I didn't bring a pillow this time, or a inflatable pillow. I didn't have like a mask to cover my eyes for recovery, and I also didn't have any earplugs. So what happened is, in addition to me being sick and coughing all night and having a hard time to fall asleep, it was really uncomfortable in Camp 2, and I had a hard time to fall asleep. Same in Camp 3 and Camp 4, even though I was extremely exhausted and extremely tired. Really, I was begging for sleep, but I had a hard time to fall asleep due to my bad equipment. And yeah, I think the main reason for that was that I didn't start from my home. I didn't start the expedition and the preparation for the expedition from my home where I live, but here from Spain, which is like just a temporary residence, you could say. And unfortunately, I did not have all my equipment here in Spain, and I didn't think of buying additional equipment in Kathmandu, and therefore I had basically bad equipment for a proper sleep, and this ultimately led to the fact that I did not have good sleep, very, very healthy and sleep in which I could recover, and that probably then led to me being fatigued, exhausted, tired, and also not being able to recover from the cold. Another big problem was that I didn't have my own lightweight tent on Mount Everest. So the weeks before, I summited Annapurna, and for that mountain I had my own very light tent that I bring with me, that is very, very light and easy for me to carry even without oxygen. It's very light, it's just for 1 or 2 people. And I bring it up to Camp 2, to Camp 3, Camp 4, build it up myself, dismantle it myself. And this is how it worked on Annapurna, and it was working great. Even though it's hard to carry your own tent up the mountain, but if you have a very light tent just for yourself, it's manageable. The big mistake I did last year when I summited Lhotse was I didn't bring my own tent. I used the tents from the expedition, but I didn't use the built-up tents that were already installed in the camps. No, I was carrying my own tents my expedition leader lent to me. But these tents were very heavy 3-people tents that weighed around about 7 to 8 kilos. So I had to carry those through the Khumbu Icefall up to Camp 3, up the Lhotse Face to Camp 4. It was extremely exhausting. You cannot imagine how hard it is to carry 2 tents through the Khumbu Icefall all by yourself and then return back to base camp. And you cannot even imagine how hard it is to carry 1 single tent on your back without oxygen up the Lhotse Face to Camp 3 and then another one to Camp 4. It's extremely exhausting. It's so heavy, and it really cost me a lot of resources. It fatigued me so much. It was so hard to carry the tents in addition to my own equipment or my other equipment up the Lhotse Face. So I decided this year, no, I'm not gonna carry those big tents from the expedition. I'm gonna bring my very own light tent, and by that I will be very flexible, I will be a lot lighter, and I will save and conserve so much more energy. So that was my basic idea. But for some reason my equipment had to be transported from Annapurna to Everest Basecamp. I was traveling myself from Annapurna to Kathmandu, and from Kathmandu to Everest, but just with my trekking equipment in order to be able to hike and move to Everest Basecamp. But the big, let's say, expedition equipment, with all my tents, with all my gear, with all my boots, crampons, ice axe, food, and all the things I need, it's about 40 kilos. This big expedition equipment, I handed over to my expedition organizer for them to transport it from Annapurna Basecamp to Everest Basecamp. And for some reason, my expedition leader decided, or the company owner decided, to not deliver my tents, because he transported the material via helicopter to Everest Basecamp, and in order to save weight, he didn't attach my tents to my expedition equipment, and he said, "No, Nordin, it's fine, you can just use our tents." So I was faced with the same problem again. I didn't have my own tents, so I was relying on the expedition, on the organizer, for them to carry tents up there, to install tents up there, and otherwise I would have to use their heavy tents or carry their heavy tents, and I wanted to save energy. So that was a big problem, because due to that fact, I was not as flexible in going up and down as I wanted to, because I didn't have my light tent. So I was dependent on the Sherpas when they would actually carry up tents, and that was a huge problem for me and made it harder, and I wasn't free to decide over my time schedule, when to go up and when to go down. These were the 5 main reasons why I was not able to summit Mount Everest by myself without oxygen. Main reason being, I was just not strong enough, I was too weak and fatigued, and I was not well prepared enough, and these are definitely things I will have to change for the next time. So yeah, what I will do differently in the next time is, the next time I'm gonna approach Everest is probably not gonna be next year in 2025. I think I need a 1-year break from Everest. I'm probably gonna try something else, maybe in Pakistan or in Nepal or in China, I don't know yet, but I will let you know in another video. But what I will have to change and adapt for the next time, maybe I can try it in 2026 again, I need better food and nutritioning for the next time. I had some nutrition with me, some vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, iron, and magnesium, and a lot of other nutritioning, but I feel like it was not enough. I was thinking about maybe I need something more like protein based, like protein shakes, in order to be able to keep muscle mass. You know, it's you lose so much body mass there, you lose so much fat and muscle mass up there just because of the cold you have to compensate, but also because of the lack of oxygen. And for the next time, I need to change my food and nutritioning so I have an easier time to eat, to keep all the vitamins and macronutrients in, and to just be healthier overall. Another thing that I will change in the future is that I will not join big commercial expeditions anymore. Like the Nepalese organizers, they usually organize bigger groups to climb Mount Everest, and then you're a part of a bigger climbing group, maybe like 8 or 10 climbers or even 20 climbers. And you're in a tent together with them, you're in a dining tent together with them, you eat together with them. That's all fine, but I really dislike this Nepalese style of climbing. Everything with fixed ropes, also how the dining is organized, and in general how people climb the 8,000ers these days. I really don't think this is how mountaineering should be. I think mountaineering should be as much as possible in an alpine style. For me, that's the true form of mountaineering. Not using oxygen, not using fixed ropes, not using helicopters or anything. Just, I don't know, 1, 2, or 3 guys with a rope trying to climb a mountain in alpine style, a very small expedition. This is how I want to climb in the future, so I will definitely not join the big Nepalese commercial expeditions anymore. I will not be a part of this anymore. In the future, I would like to organize my own little expeditions in an alpine style, without Sherpas, without fixed rope, just a small group of alpinist climbers that try to find new routes, not go on the standard routes, or maybe outside of the season, not in spring. Maybe it's possible to climb in autumn or something like that on a different and alternative route. This is how I would envision 8,000er mountaineering in the future. And I hope to be able to climb in that style in the future. And let's see what I will come up with for the next expedition next year.